The first one, the first one on page 48 of Universal Prayers. All right. Om Apyayantu mamangani vak pranaschakshushotram atabalam indriyani cha sarvani sarvam brahmopanishadam maham brahma nirakuryam mama brahma nirakarot anirakaranamastu anirakaranam me astu tadatmani nirateya upanishatsu dharmaste mahisantu te mahisantu om shanti shanti shanti. I pray to the Divine Lord that all aspects of my personality, body, mind, sense organs, prana shakti, may they all become stronger and function in perfect harmony. This whole cosmos, visible to the mind through the sense organs, is nothing other than the ultimate reality called Brahman in the Upanishads. May I not reject this truth. May I accept it as it has been verified and experienced by innumerable sages over centuries and millennia. May I strive to the best of my ability to realize this truth, to experience this truth in my life, in this very life. As I am engaged in this lofty effort of experiencing the truth of my divine nature, may all the virtues described in the Upanishads come to me. All the virtues such as truthfulness, straightforwardness, strength and purity, may they all come to me and reside in me. Om peace, may there be peace and joy in our hearts. May there be peace and harmony amongst all beings, and may there be peace everywhere in nature. We have been studying the group of shlokas 7 to 11 in chapter 15. In these 5 shlokas, Bhagavan Sri Krishna is explaining the nature of the individual. Who is the Jivatman? Who am I? Or each one of us, who are we? The answer to that very important question is given by the Lord himself in these 5 shlokas, beginning with shloka number 7 in chapter 15. Very important shlokas. So let us study chapter shloka 7 we did last time, I think. It says, just going back to recapitulate, shloka 7. Mamaivamsho jiva loke jiva bhutas sanatanaha manashashtani indriyani prakritisthani karshati. How is this personality made? Take any one person like myself or any of you. What are we? What is this? I call myself this body mind. It is made up of the Lord. The Lord himself is in that person. It says amsha means a part. Part means figuratively speaking. All of it, not a part. Whole of the divine is present within in each one of us. And how is it present? It's not visible. Pure consciousness. Brahman is pure consciousness. You cannot see with our ordinary eyes. How is it visible? It is covered by the body, mind, which are parts of nature, prakritistha. So what the Lord does is, he gathers these physical components, manaha, shashtani, indriyani, 5 sense organs, jnanendriyas, and mind, 6th sense organ. These things and other parts of the body. Where are they? In Prakriti, in nature, material, all the 5 elements in nature: Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Tejas, and water and Prithvi. 5 elements we have studied in the 7th chapter and 13th chapter. So he takes all these material parts and he enters into that, and that becomes one living being. But talking about human beings, it applies to other beings also. That's how we are made. If you just analyze our personality into components. So that is explained in the verse number 7. Mama eva amshaha, my part alone. Jiva loke, in this world of living beings. Jiva bhuta sanatana. Sanatana amsha, eternal. God is eternal. But the physical part of our personality, body, mind, sense organs, they are not eternal. They come and go. Their part, they come from Prakriti. After some time, they will go back and merge into Prakriti. He remains constant. For the Lord, there is no birth, death, old age, or middle age, or nothing. For the body, birth is there, death is there, middle age, old age, youth, everything is there, all kinds of changes. But he remains unchanged within us. That's our true nature, he. But somehow there is a misapprehension due to Maya, power of Maya, we can say. Vedanta says Maya. The Lord himself assumes identity with the body mind. So that is, why does it happen? Why does it do it? There is no answer to that. It's Leela. Devotees say it is Daivi Leela. Why does he take the form of human being or other being? He can just stay as he is. Satchidananda. Otherwise, there is no creation. So he creates the world. How does he create the world? By assuming all the prakritis and everything gathering, taking individual beings. He becomes individual beings. And that is creation. Why does he do it? Why can't he just stay as a Satchidananda? Then there is no world, there is no people, there is no problem, there is no suffering. There is no answer. It's divine Leela. He wants to play. Sri Ramakrishna says, he said, Divine Mother. Somebody asked Sri Ramakrishna, why does she create this world and so much problem, suffering here for all of us? And Sri Ramakrishna says, it is her sport. She wants to play the game of hide and seek. She keeps people in ignorance by blindfolding them. They have to run around for a little bit. When they touch her, then she will open the blindfold and make that person free. When we reach God, then you are released from this game of birth and death. No more suffering. Until then, you have to run around a little bit. That's her sport. Why she does it, why God does it, nobody has the answer. We are in the play anyhow. So it is his presence within us. That's the core of our personality. That's what we truly are. The outer covering body, mind, they come, they go, they change in between. That's not who we are. We are the divine. That's Upanishad says all these things in one simple sentence. Aham Brahmasmi. Only 3 words. I'm that Brahman. But here Gita gives a little bit more explanation. What is the I? Mamayvamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana is eternal. Body mind is not sanatana. This is impermanent. Ashashvatam. Now, that is the definition of a being. God himself covered by Prakritis, body, mind, and other material parts, sense organs and everything. Now, how does it do this one is explained in the next shlokas. 8, number 8 we shall do now. Shariram yadavapnoti yachapyutkramati swaraha grihitvaitani samyati vayurgandha nivasayat. See, the Lord assumes this human or other living personality. He is permanent, sanatana. But the body mind, they capture, they come and go, birth and rebirth. How does it do that one? Shariram avapnoti. Sharira means parts of Prakriti, material part taken from nature. He gains that one. Avapnoti, he acquires that one. Yacha utkramati. Ishvara, that Ishvara, the Lord himself. Utkramati means he collects all of them, becomes a person, leaves all of them, and the body is no longer useful. Birth and death. That's how it happens. He remains constant. Body comes, body goes. Body becomes it grows. When it's born, infant, becomes a child, then the youth, and the middle age, old age, and the body dies. He remains unaffected, constant. No change for him. Nahanyate hanyamane sharire, 220. Second chapter, sloka 20. Sharire hanyamane, when the body dies, atmana hanyate, he doesn't die, he remains permanent. Etani means all these things, mind and sense organs and everything. Etani manaha indriyani grihitva, grasping them. Vayur samyati, he lives. When birth happens, body, mind, sense organ, they all come together, makes a personality, baby, grows, becomes old, the body left behind, he remains. He does not change. Vayur gandha niva, she gives an example. Vayu means air. Gandha means odor, smell. It may be pleasant smell, fragrant, or it may be unpleasant odor. The air carries the odor. Pleasant and pleasant, it does not matter to the air. It simply carries it from one place to another. But air itself remains unaffected. It's only a medium. Air carries the odor from one place to another, and air remains free. It does not become affected by the odor it carries. In the same way, the Lord does not become affected by the whatever happens to the body mind. The body mind, they go through a lot of changes. Every moment it is changing. Every moment our bodies and minds are changing. New cells are coming, old cells are disintegrating, and blood cells are being formed. All these things are breathing, everything is happening, food digestion happening. All these things are happening continuously from moment of birth until moment of death. He is unaffected by any of this. He does not become youth. He does not become middle age. He does not become old age. He remains constant. Body goes through all the changes. Just like air carries the odor, good or bad, from place to place, but itself remains unaffected. In the same way, the Lord in us, God in us remains unaffected. The bodies come and go, and they undergo changes. So, this was explained in the second chapter, sloka 20, that he remains unchanged. No birth, no death for Atman. Birth and death and changes for the body only. Second chapter, sloka 20, very important sloka. Najayate mriyate va kadachit nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyaha ajo nitya shashvato yam purano nahanyate hanyamane sharire. He remains constant, does not die when the body dies. So that is this a description of the changing personality, but unchanging Atman. That's what we got. Now more details are given in sloka number 9. This all description of the Jivatma, individual soul. All of these slokas. Sloka number 9. Shrotram chakshusparshanam cha rasanam granameva cha adhisthaya manaschayam vishayanupasevate. Vishayanupasevate. resorting to the jiva experiences objects. Vishaya means all sense objects. How does he experience? The experience is the Lord himself, as Jivatma. These are instruments, the sense organs, 5 instruments through which all information of the outside world comes into the self. Shrotram, hearing. With the sense organs of hearing, ears, we can hear sounds. Good sound, bad sound, we hear. Shrotram. Chakshuhu, eyes. With the eyes, we can see all the forms. Color, shape, and size, distance, all these things I can perceive. Sparshanam, sense of touch. Heater, hot or cold, rough or smooth, that is felt by the Atman through the organ of touch, skin, sparshanam. Rasanam, rasanam means tongue. With the tongue, sense organ tongue, we get the taste, a sweet or a sour, all those things. So in this way, granam, smell also, 5th one. Good smell, bad smell through the nose. These are all sense organs. Through these sense organs, adhisthaya, resorting to these 5 sense organs, manaha, and the mind also, all the thoughts, feelings, impressions, sadness, happiness, all happens in the mind. The sense organs convey the information and the mind reacts. If the information, if the object I am seeing is pleasant, then mind becomes happy. If the something that I am touching is very hot, mind with hand which is withdrawn, mind is not pleased, too hot, like that one. So the feelings are in the mind. The feelings are in the mind. Data conveyed by the sense organs from the outside objects. Vishaya means all outside sense objects. Adhisthaya manaschayam Vishayana the Jivatma experiences all sense organs. Happiness, unhappiness is felt in the mind. Now, okay. So the Lord himself is there in all the body, only one Lord. Bodies, minds are different. That we studied in the 13th chapter. The content is one, containers are infinite in number, bodies and all kinds of bodies and minds. So in the 13th chapter, the one reality present in infinite number of beings was explained. There is no plural for Atman, only one. Present in so many. Appears to be divided as you divided, but cannot be divided. Like space. I like the example of space. Spaces contain numerous containers, some big, some small, different shapes and sizes, functions, containers. This room, this cup, space is there. Only one space. It cannot be divided into compartments, but it appears to be divided because it is in different containers. In the same way, Atman is only one, appears to be separate in different beings. The containers are different. Where did we study that one? 13th chapter, sloka number 2. There, very important line. There, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, Kshetrajnam chapi mam nidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. O Arjuna, sarva kshetreshu, in all the bodies, human bodies, animal bodies, all kinds of bodies, in nature also, in the sun, the moon, in fire, in the water, everything, in all these kshetras, mam kshetrajnam vidhi, know me to be the indwelling spirit. He is only one, the Lord. So we have to identify his presence in all the beings. The containers, body, mind, they come and go, they change. They are not permanent. He is permanent. And this was explained further in Shloka 16 of chapter 13. There he says, Avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktamiva cha sthitam. Sloka 16 in chapter 13. Avibhakta means indivisible. God cannot be divided into parts. Vibhaktamiva sthitam, as if he is divided into parts, sthitam is present in all the bodies. Bhuteshu vibhaktam iva sthitam, in all the beings, he appears to be divided into separate personalities, but it is only one. Bodies, minds have to be different, of course. And one more sloka explains this one. These are all description of individual personality, who we are. This is all description of who am I, who are you, each one of us. We should think of ourselves as the Atman, really. Then the body mind is only a covering which comes and goes, changes in between. I am not that one. To understand that point, this description is being given. That's the message. So in sloka number 26 in chapter 13, all things have come before, earlier, in different contexts. There Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, whatever is there in nature is made up of two components. A conscious, eternal, unchanging component called Kshetrajna there, and the changing container, body mind, called Kshetra there. Yavat sanjayate kinchit, sloka 26, chapter 13. Yavat sanjayate kinchit sattvam stavara jangamam. Sattva means any object. Stavara means unmoving, staying put. Like the Himalaya mountain is not moving in relation to the earth. Earth itself is moving, but in relation to earth, the mountain is not moving. At least we can't see the movement. Savara jangama. Jangama means moving object, like people, animals, we are moving. Savara jangama, whatever object is there, yavat sanjayate kinchit sattam savara jangamam. And all these things are made up of two things. Kshetrajna samyogat tadvedhi bharatarshava. All these beings, moving and unmoving, they are made up of two parts. Kshetra, Kshetrajna. Kshetra is the physical material part taken from Prakriti, material, and then Kshetrajna is the conscious component, the Lord himself, present as Jivatma. Is called Kshetrajna when he is associated with a particular body. Otherwise, he is the Lord himself, Paramatma. So in the Upanishad, all this is condensed into one short sentence. Gita is good because it gives some explanations of details. Otherwise, the Mahavakya says the same thing. Ayam Atma Brahma, one Mahavakya. This individual soul is same as Brahman, it says. But here it gives the details. How are we same as God? If you remove the body, mind, physical part which comes and goes, temporary, always changing, what remains is the Lord himself. That's what we truly are. That is the one message only we have to grasp. These are all different ways to explain that one message. We are that. That is the message. Shotram chakshus parshanam cha rasanam ghraname vacha adhisthaya manaschayam vishayanupasevate. He experiences all the sense objects through the five sense organs until mind. Now we go to sloka number 10. Now the sloka number 10, there is an implied message. There the Lord says, intelligent people who have the incisive vision to see the presence of God in all beings, they can see God. Otherwise, ordinary people without the incisive power of perception, sharp power of perception, what they see? They see the container, body, mind, whether impressed or not impressed, and they go away without recognizing divine presence within. They miss the important part. Supposing there is a cup of payasam, sweet, is served in a cup. That cup is very nice. All the decorations are there, painting and the cup, everything is there. And inside it, a payasam is there. Really the interesting stuff. sweet stuff. So ordinary person, when he looks at the cup, he's fascinated by the cup, how beautiful it is. He looks at the cup, oh, admires it, but does not see the poison inside. That is the main thing. And that's what the mistake we all do. We see somebody and we are either impressed or not impressed by the person. Oh, what a wonderful man he is. He's so tall and so handsome, good looking, and he drives some fancy car, Lamborghini or something. Impressed. But we miss the important part. This car and everything, they come and go. The body, everything tall and handsome, they are not permanent. One day that they will all disappear, die, death will come. What is important in that person is the Lord present in that person. Or we see an ordinary person, ugly looking man or woman, not properly dressed, uneducated, no money. So many people are there. We look at them, we don't have any interest to know that person. In that person also, in the rich person, handsome looking person, only one divinity is there. That we miss. And we are impressed or unimpressed by the appearance. That is the mistake we do. Even in ours also. I'm always looking at my body. Oh, my body, if it is healthy, I'm happy. If it has some pain, I'm unhappy. I'm concerned about the body only. What to eat and what dress to wear. All those things, I'm concerned about the body. But the container, the content within my body, the Lord himself, I'm not aware of that one. You see, this is the main problem why suffering comes. All good, bad, pain, pleasure happen to the body, mind. The Lord himself is unaffected. I'm Brahman. If we gain that knowledge, that's the goal of life. I have to know who am I. All my life I live under the misapprehension that I am the body, mind. Whatever happens to the body, I'm suffering, I'm enjoying pain and pleasure. Somebody said this, somebody did that. That's ignorance. Here the Lord says, you are not that, you are that self. I am present in you. He's saying directly. Upanishad says in Mahavakya, Chandogya Upanishad, Tatvamasi, only 3 words. Same thing is said there. Briefly, Tatvamasi, you are that self within. You are not the body mind. Upanishad is saying. Here more details are nice, easy to understand. So, Vimudha Dana Pashyanti. Amivada means ignorant people. Na Anupash, they don't see the Lord coming and going, enjoying through the sense organs. Na Anupashyanti. Pashyanti Jnana Chakshusha. Jnana Chakshu means the divine eyes which can see the reality, bypassing the appearance. Arjuna was given the Jnana Chakshu, Divya Chakshu. In the 11th chapter, we studied Vishwarupa chapter. Because with the ordinary eyes, Arjuna could not see the cosmic form revealed to him by the Lord. Sri Krishna knew that one. So before showing that one, he tells Arjuna, I'm going to give you Divya Chakshu, special eyes with which you can see my cosmic form. With the ordinary eyes, we cannot see. So those who develop their vision, that means they purify the heart. How to do that one? How to get the Divya Chakshu, Jnana Chakshu? By purifying the mind, making it free from all impurities such as lust, anger, greed, etc. Then mind becomes pure, then you can see divine presence in all and everything. They are called holy people, Mahatmas. By virtue of spiritual practice, they have purified their mind. They can see God in all and everything. That's why we have to go to them. Holy people can see. If somebody went to Ramana Maharshi, he would look upon everybody as a Brahman. He would disregard their appearance, what dress they're wearing, didn't matter to him. If somebody went to Swami Ramdas, he would say everybody as Rama. It didn't matter what dress you are wearing, what car you are driving, how much money you have. He didn't pay attention to those. He would see you only as Rama. Oh, Rama, you have come. Like this. Seeing Rama in everyone, not being carried away by the appearance of the person. That is Divya Chakshu. Such people are there, have been there, are there. And we have to develop that Divya Chakshu. Then we can see God in all and everything, within ourselves also. I give up the notion I am the body mind, I see God in within me. Then Aham Brahmasmi, Upanishad becomes my experience. That's the goal of human life. So all this description is given in order for us to grasp that ultimate truth and motivate us to gain that experience. Am that self. Utkramantam stitam vapi. Stitam means the Atman staying in the body mind. Utkramantam, departing the body mind at the time of death. Gunjanam, experiencing during the lifetime all the sense objects. Va gunalvitam. Gunalvitam means displaying the various changes, sukha, dukkha, etc. in the mind. All these things we are seeing, visible things. But the divine presence, Banana Pashyanti, Vimodhanana Pashyanti, they don't see the divine presence, ordinary people. Special people, holy people, Jnana Chakshushaha, those who have divine eyes, purified eyes, vision, Pashyanti, they see God in all and everyone. And we have to become like that. This was explained in the shloka number 11 in chapter 9. It's almost same thing he said, chapter 9, shloka number 11. There Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, Avajananti mam mudha manushim tanamashritam. Mudha means foolish people. Those who cannot think deeply, those who your vision, mind is not clear, mind is not pure. Such people, they may not be bad people, but they have not done enough work in spiritual practice to purify their mind. They are engrossed in the worldly life. Imudha, amajananti mam mudaha, na avajananti. They don't see me. They don't understand my presence. Why? Because I have taken the form of a human being. Manushim tanamashritam. Tanu means body. Manushim tana means human body. Ashritam. The God is appearing in front of me, in front of us, in the form of all the human beings and other beings. We see the human body outside, we don't see his presence. Navajananti mamudha manushim tanamashritam 9:11. Manushim tanamashritam Bhagavantam, the Lord who has taken the body of a human being, manushim tanam, na avajananti. Mamudha manushim tanamashritam. So we have to not be impressed by the appearance of the body mind, but go deeper and see the divine presence in all. That is the message here. Why this happens, why can't we see God, is explained in the reason is explained in the Upanishad. Why can't we see God if He is present in me and in other people? As he says again and again, because our sense organs and our mind, they always look outside and are fascinated by the sense objects. This is so beautiful, this movie is so wonderful, I want to watch this. This dress is so nice, I want to buy. Sense organs are always going outside, seeking contact with sense objects, because that contact seems to bring some pleasure. Somebody is driving a nice car, I want to drive that car, I only have an ordinary Toyota. That desire comes. Sense object is attractive, and the mind is attracted to the sense objects. Sense objects are attractive. Forgetting the divine presence with you, don't look inwards, we look outwards. That is the nature of the sense organs and the mind. That's explained in one verse in the Upanishad. There it says, Paranchikani yatranit swayambhu tasmat parang pashati na antaratman. Kani means the five sense organs of perception, jnanendriyas, eyes, ears, tongue, taste, smell. They look at the outside sense objects, and they don't look at this divine presence within the mind also. Why they are like that? They are naturally made like that by the Lord. You can put the blame on God. Why did you made me like this? You can put and blame God. Why don't I see your presence? Is Maya covers us. Maya is God's power. This is play. Why he does it? You have no answer. We can say divine Leela. Tasmat parang pashyati. Parak means all outside the world. Oh, what is happening in the distant galaxy? We know. What's happening? Other people are doing in Hollywood and India, everything we know. All those things. But what is happening inside? The Lord present inside, that I don't know. Tasmat parang pashyati. Antaratman na pashyati. You don't see the Antaratman, the divine presence within me, the inner self within me.
What verse is this, Swamiji?
Huh?
From where is this verse?
Kathopanishad. Then some people do it. How? Somehow. What do they do? Kaschid dhiraha. A rare dhira means a wise person with a strong, purified mind. Kaschid dhiraha, one person here, one person there, one in thousands. Such a person, pratyagatmanam aikshat, succeeds in seeing the inner self within, Atman within. How does he or she do that one? Avritta chakshuhu, reverses the focus of attention of the sense organs and the mind. Instead of looking outside, the whole world, how fascinating it is, we should look inwards. The outside object will come and go, not permanent. Today they give happiness, tomorrow they give pain. So we're not interested. We are looking the self within. That's this who I am. That's the main thing. So that's what we do in meditation. We close all our sense organs. We don't take any phone calls. We don't hear any music. We don't do anything. We don't eat anything or do anything. Sitting there, closing our minds and thinking about the Atman, trying to see inside what the divine presence within me. Such things are done only by a few people. Kaschid dhira, not everybody. Everybody is interested in the world outside. So fascinating. Pratyagatma. Why does such a person do that one? Amritattvam, desiring immortality. True immortality means identifying ourselves with the immortal Atman. Body is mortal, comes and goes. So that is the reason why most people are fascinated by the world, not much interest in knowing God. Utkramantam sthitam vapi bhunjanam gunanvitam vimudhananu pashyanti jnana chakshusha. Avjananti means that disregard me. Then we go to shloka number 11, the last one in this segment. Yatanto yoginaschainam pasyantyatmanyavastitam yatanto pyakratatmana nainam pasyantyachetasaha. Those who persevere, yatna means effort, prayatna. Constant effort is required, spiritual practice, not sporadic effort. Yatantaha, those who are striving hard, consistently, with persistence, yoginaha, those yogis. Yogi here does not mean one who practices any kind of yogasana or anything. In general, yogi, the general meaning of the word yogi is one who is trying to know God. Yoga means union with the divine. One who is trying to reach God by any way, by any kind of any path, bhakti marga, karma, or whatever. In some way, if you are trying to reach God, then you are called yogis. In general meaning. Yatanto yoginaschainam pashyanti atmani avasthitam. Atmanam atmani avasthitam. The self present within oneself, within me, within each one of us. He is within us. We don't have to go outside. God is not outside. One view is God is different from the world. I am here, God is there. I'm separated. I'm separate from Him. So I have to reach Him like a spatial a separation is comes to our picture. We visualize God being present in the heaven like that one. Shiva is in Kailasa, Vishnu is in Vaikuntha, I'm here on the earth. So I have to strive hard to travel to Vaikuntha or Kailasa to be with Vishnu or Shiva. That is ordinary Puranic view. Vedanta says no. He is right within you, not separate from you, not outside of you. Atmani avastita is present within me, myself, within each one of us. If you go to Himalayas, then you will see God because God is there. Shiva is sitting there in the mountain. That is one description of one way, Puranic description. Shiva is right here, not outside, within me. He's sitting there all the time, 24 hours, even when I'm not aware of his presence. That's why in meditation, we are told to visualize God's presence in our heart, the lotus of our heart. In meditation, we are supposed to close our eyes and visualize divine presence within us, in our hearts. Before beginning meditation, we chant the Dhyana Shloka for Sri Ramakrishna, those who meditate on Sri Ramakrishna. The Dhyana Shloka says, Hridaya Kamala Madhye Rajitam Nirvikalpam. Hridaya Kamala Madhye, in the lotus of my heart. Rajitam is shining there. Nirvikalpam, without change. Unchanging, eternal, divine Lord is present right in the lotus of my heart. There I have to see him. Where else do you see Ramakrishna? There is no separate place. He's right within me. Not only Sri Ramakrishna, any God, any form of God you worship is present with you. So, Atmani avasthitam yoginaha yatantaha yogina pashyanti. Those yogis who strive hard, they see the Lord within themselves. They don't have to go anywhere outside. Yatanto pyakartatmanaha. Akartatmanaha means those who have not mastered their inner self, purified their mind with enough spiritual practice, japa, meditation, etc. Any kind of spiritual practice, holy company, prayer and solitude, all those things. If they have not done enough of that one, Akartatma, whose minds are not prepared for God realization, Margaret is there. Good. So, such people, Yatanta, though they are striving hard, without preparing the mind, purifying the mind with various spiritual practices, te atma pashyanti, na pashyanti achetasaha. Those people whose minds are not pure, they na pashyanti. Akartatmanaha, whose minds are not pure, they don't seek divine presence, either within themselves or in anybody else or anywhere else. So that is not what we should be. We should prepare our minds, purify our mind by prayer. Prayer is very powerful. Repeating God's name is very powerful to purify the mind. By doing these practices, if your mind is fully prepared, then we can see God within me and within everybody else and everywhere else. The description. Yatanto yogenas chainam pashyanti atmanya avasthitam atmani avasthitam pashyanti. Present within me, one so self. That is, they see. Who see? Yogana yatanta. Those who strive hard, yogis, who have purified their mind. They can see God's presence within oneself and everywhere else. Yatantopi akrtatmanaha. Akrtatmana means those whose minds are not prepared for God realization. We still have to do some work, purifying. Meditation, holy company, scripture study, all these things have to be done. Until then, achetasa, those whose minds are not pure, atmanam napashyanti. Yatantopi, though they are striving hard, they don't see God, God's presence. That is explained in the Upanishad. Who can see God? The Upanishad says God is present in all. It uses the word Atma in the Upanishad. Esha sarveshu bhuteshu godo atmana prakashate. Esha Atma, this Atman, only one Atman. Sarveshu bhuteshu, in all the beings, gudaha means remains hidden from you, The prakashate does not come out and publicize itself. It remains hidden behind the body and the mind. How can we see then if he remains hidden? Drishyate, he can be seen. How? Agreya buddhya. Agra means very sharp buddhi, intellect. Intellect has to be sharp. Sukshmaya buddhya. Intellect has to be subtle, able to see subtle things. Everybody can see gross things, but subtle things hidden behind the gross things, many people miss, they cannot see. Mind has to be prepared for that one. Sukshmaya buddhya drishyate agya. By whom? Sukshma darshibihi. Those who are able to see subtle things behind the gross appearance. So we have to become like that. Develop our intellect, purify the mind, become free from all the impurities as much as possible, desire, anger, jealousy, pride, etc. Then you can see God in oneself and everywhere else. Now the 12 to 15, next group of 4 shlokas, they describe the omnipresence of God. Sarvatmakatvam. God is present everywhere. They describe, the description comes. How can we see God's presence? We see in the 10th chapter. In the 10th chapter, Krishna gives a large number of examples, how to see God's presence. Like that one. Anything that is outstanding in some respect, glorious in some respect, that is indicates the divine's presence within that one. Balam, balamata, masmi, kamaraga, vivarjitam, like that one. Somebody very strong and powerful, that power is the indication of God's presence in that person. That power must be, strength must be not brute strength, tamasic strength. It must be kamaraga vivarjitam, free from kama raga, desire and attachment. Then pure strength is the indication of God's presence in that person. Like that one. Pravasmi shashi surya yo. Shashi means moon, Surya means sun. Both of them have a brightness. Prabha means luminosity. That is because of God's presence in the sun and the, like this. Many examples are given in chapter 10. How to see God's, identify God's presence in many things. Like that one. So that is explained here in the 12 to 15. How God is present in certain things. How can we see God's presence in various things? So let us do shloka number 12. Very interesting shloka. Actually, this has already come in between, before, in the 7th chapter. Yada dityagatam tejo jagadbhasayate khilam yachandramasi yachagnau tattejo vidhi mamakam. Adityagatam teja. Aditya means sun. Teja means effulgence, brightness, power. Shining so much, producing so much energy, light and heat that sustains life on this planet. Everything sustained by sun's power and sun's power only. Energy given by sun. Adityagatam tejaha. Whatever is tejas, power is present in the sun. Akhilam jagat bhasayate. Akhilam means all, whole world. Akhilam jagat. At least in the solar system, sun's rays illumine all the planets. Some planets are very far away, like Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. Very little sun power reaches there, but it is there. Not enough to sustain life. And some planets which are very close to sun, too hot, too much sun's power, life cannot be sustained there. Mercury too hot, too close to the sun. Venus too hot, too close to the sun. Earth is at the optimum distance. See, this is divine grace. You are all present on this earth, Jiva Loka, where life can thrive, where conditions are conducive to life. Just enough sunlight, not too hot, not too cold. Although in winter it becomes too cold, so Earth goes a little bit away in its elliptical orbit. In summer it becomes too hot, but still within manageable limits. There we can live. This where God has placed us in this planet. That is enormous grace. If you are in some other planet, we can't even exist there. No question of God realization or anything. That presence, the divine presence in the sun, which makes it illumine, provide the light and energy that illumines the whole world. Aditya, Jagat Akhilam Jagat Bhasayate. Whole world is illumined by the sun's power. That power in the sun is my power. Mamakam Veja Teja Tat Teja Mamakam Viddi. Similarly, Yat Chandramasi, whatever power is there in the Chandra, in the moon, to convert the blazing sunlight into soothing, cool moonlight. That power is in the moon. How does moon get that power? Because of God's presence in the power of God in the moon. Yacha Agnav. Agni means fire. Fire can burn everything. We need fire. Too much of it is very difficult, not good. Burns all the forest fires, thousands of acres are burned. Too much. But enough fire to keep warm in the body. Just enough fire to prepare food, etc., and enough warm to keep the mind at the optimum temperature. Too much heat means fever will come, and too much cold, not enough heat means hypothermia will come. But God has kept it in the optimum 97.5 or 97.7 temperature. God's grace. It's God's grace. Yacha Agnav, whatever power is in the fire to burn everything, whatever power is in the moon, whatever power is in the sun. Adityatam Tejaha, Yacha Chandramasi, Yacha Agnav, Tat Tejaha, that power, that effulgence, Mamakam Vidhi. Mamakam means mine. Vidhi means know that to be mine. The Lord who provides the power to all these things in nature. These are three examples: sun, moon, and fire. Likewise, all other beings, every one of us, every ant that crawling on the ground, every element, every animal, every tree, and every cell in everybody has the same power, God's power. All pervasive of God's power. Nothing can function without God's power being there, enabling it to function. Every single cell is, it functions, does it function by the power of God present in the cell. So much intelligence is encoded in every cell. Each cell knows its function. Different locations of the cell in the body calls for different functions. The cell in the eye does different function than the cell in the brain. That is different from the cell in the hand. Same cell, but depending upon location, it knows exactly what function to do. There are generic cells. Before they're assigned to any particular organ in the body, they are stem cells. Then they begin their function when they are placed in a certain part of the body, in the organ, certain organ. How all this is done? Enormous intelligence coded in each cell. Very small cell, you cannot even see that. Only we need electron microscope to see a cell. There are 4 to 5, 6 million cells in 1 cubic centimeter of blood. So tiny it is, but so much power is there. If the cells die, then the body dies. See, this is, if you think about it, the fascinating creation, the Lord is there in everything. Without His presence, nothing can move. Not a blade of grass can move without His presence. And we have to know that one. We have to know His presence. We are fascinated by the body mind, but not by the power behind it. Sri Ramakrishna explains this with an example. If you go to a very rich man's house, big bungalow and a garden around it, 7-8 stories, so many rooms and so many servants and so many drivers and cooks and everything, that Ambani residence in Mumbai. There is a helipad also on the top of that one. Helicopters can land there and 500-600 people work there. to maintain the building, huge garage. So it is that mansion that is so fascinating. You are fascinated. How many cars can be parked there in Ambani building? How many planes can land there? How many workers are there in that working in the building? You are interested. But the main thing is not that. Main thing should be to know him, the owner. If you know him, then other things become easy. Sri Ramakrishna says most people are interested only in the building, not in the owner. If you go to a garden house, people are fascinated by how big is the garden, how many malis work there, how many floors are there, how many in the mansion. They are not interested in knowing the person. Like this creation, the Lord's mansion. He created. We are fascinated by the creation. Oh, so nice, so bad. Everything is interesting, nice. But who made this one? Who is running this one? Who is present in everything, every cell? That we are not interested that much to know. So the creation is not permanent. It comes and goes, it changes. The creator is the main thing that we have to know. Transfer our attention from the creation to the creator. That is the purpose of this description. This is called Karya Karana Drishti. Drishti means vision. Karya means the product or effect, world. Karana means the cause, the Lord himself. So we are fascinated by the world. We have to know everything about it. But we neglect the Lord. Transferring our attention from the world, which appears so fascinating, to the Lord, who is the creator, by whose power everything runs in this world. That is what we have to do. Not remaining fascinated by the world all the time, but see who created it. Let us know the creator. Then everything about the world will be known. By knowing whom or which, everything else will be known. That is the Lord. So that is the purpose of this description. Yada adityagatam tejo jagadvasayate kelam yat chandramasi yat chagnau tat tejo vidhimamakam. I'm present in all, including the sun, moon, and Agni, and everything else. These are three examples, and everything is present. There's nothing in which he is not. Everything works by his presence only. That is the message here. That famous Upanishadic verse, which has come many times, Tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. That is to be remembered. Natatra suryo bhati nachandra tarakam nema vidyuto bhanti kutoya magnihi tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. The Lord shining, everything shines. Their sun cannot illuminate the Lord, because the Lord gives the sun to power to illuminate everything else. Natatra nachandra tarakam. The moon cannot illuminate the Lord, because the Lord gives the power to the moon to illuminate everything else. Taraka means the stars. Stars are like sun. They get their power to illuminate everything from the Lord. They cannot illuminate the Lord. Nema vidyuto bhanti. Vidyut means the lightning. So much light, but only for a second or so. It gets from that power to shine, produce so much light and electricity from God. Kutoyam Agni, from where Agni gets his power to burn? From the Lord. So we have to know him and transfer our attention from the fascinating world to the Lord who created the world. That is the purpose of this description. Sarvatma Tattvam, the omnipresence of God, is being explained in the sloka numbers 12 to 15. We did 12. We'll stop here. I'll say the closing prayer, then you can ask questions. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, may all be happy. May all be free from diseases and other problems. May all realize and practice what is noble, auspicious, and dharmic. May no one be subject to any kind of suffering. Om peace. May there be peace and joy in our hearts. May there be peace and harmony amongst all beings, and may there be peace everywhere in nature. Hari Om Tat Sat Sarvam Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. All of you stay well, and God willing, we shall see you next week.
Namaskar. I have a question that I'm asking different Swamijis. What is the purpose of marriage? What is the purpose of having children other than increasing the progeny population?
Why people marry and have children, families? Because to find happiness. People believe, ordinary people, most people believe that if I marry and have a spouse and their children, they will bring me happiness. That is the common desire. There are three kinds of desires. I'll explain why desire comes. In the Upanishad says three major kinds of desires. Desire for progeny, children, family, wife or husband. One kind of desire, because they believe they bring happiness. Second kind of desire is, look, this is putreshana. Second kind of desire is vitteshana. Vitta means money. Desire for wealth. If I have more money and a bigger house and a lot of property, then all that will bring me happiness. So I want to get more. That's another kind of desire. And the third kind of desire is lokeshana. That means happiness from worldly enjoyments, entertainment, sports, and all those things. They bring happiness, food and everything. That's enjoyment coming from them. So people have this desire. I don't have all these things now, or I have very little of them. If I get more money, if I have a family, if I have children and a spouse, and a good position, power frame, youth and beauty, I'll be happy. That is the contention. That's why people marry and acquire property and try for higher positions and fame and everything. That is the normal human life. Majority of people do that one. Now, question is, are they wrong? Second thing is, do all these things really bring happiness? So the answer to the second question, do they bring happiness? Children, property, money, bigger, higher position, CEO, bigger car, all those things, fame, beauty, do they bring happiness? They seem to, for some time. That's why people are attracted. Billions of people, they seem to bring happiness. But then, after some time, the same things that bring us happiness, they bring unhappiness, make us sad. The nature of worldly happiness through coming through all these things is very limited, and it is conditional, depends on so many things happening, and it is temporary. It comes and goes. And even when it is there, it is not pure. Always some negative thing is associated with it. Take, for example, bringing up of children, putreshana. Children do bring happiness. Some people, sometimes they succeed and beyond your expectation, they're well behaved, they take care of you in your old age and they bring happiness. But sometimes they don't bring happiness, they bring a lot of pain. Which happens to men, we cannot predict. It's a chance, it's a gamble. Same thing about other things. So the limitations of worldly happiness, if we realize, then we don't hanker for them. Then the question comes, is there something else that gives pure happiness, which does not come and go, which is all permanent and does not change, always gives happiness, unconditionally gives happiness? Yes, Vedanta says there is. Seeking happiness is not the problem. Where do we seek happiness? We are seeking the wrong places. Look in the right place, you find happiness, eternal joy and peace, unconditional, Sachidananda, Ananda will come. Where is that one? Not in the worldly things. Worldly things only give temporary happiness. Sometimes not at all. Sometimes more than you expect. That's not the true source of happiness, dependable source of happiness. Vedanta say there is one source from where you can get eternal, infinite, unconditional happiness. Does not ever go away, does not diminish, is unconditional. That is where this divine presence within us, God within us. If you seek God, then you will get that Satchidananda, Ananda, which is eternal bliss, not limited by time. Even when the body goes away, that bliss will be there. You will be as Ananda, Satchidananda. The worldly things are temporary. In old age, all the things are there, property is there, everything is there, but I cannot enjoy anything. But what good is that? Temporary. For some time they give happiness. But God always gives unfailing, eternal, unconditional, infinite happiness. So seek that one. For the same effort, you will get. So why the desire comes? Because we don't know that one. We don't know about God giving us happiness. We don't know God is present within us. So we're only seeing the world. So that's where we seek happiness, where we seek. But Vedanta says that's not the place where you should seek happiness. Seek it where you can find it. That's within you already, unconditionally, inherently. It does not go away. These things will go away. Property goes away. Relatives go away. And there will be there. I have to live. That will not happen with God. He is your very self. You can't escape your very self. You are that one. You don't have, if you have something, it may come and go. But if you are something, that's your inherent nature. You are that Satchidananda. Vedanta says you are that Satchidananda. Only we don't know, ignorant. That's why we are seeking in the wrong places. That is the message of Vedanta.
But Swamiji, some other Swamiji said the purpose of marriage is to elevate each other spiritually. And the children you are the trustees of the children, and you help them to be better beings. So elevating each other spiritually, does that really work, or is that true? And you cannot elevate somebody unless they are willing and open, and the vessel is open. So I'm confused,
So we cannot elevate, change somebody. Only we have to focus on our own self first. Then when we realize God, then we'll have power to change other people. Right now, without knowing our own true self, without experiencing God ourselves, we cannot do anything for others. We can at least tell some good things, encourage them, but not really. Holy people can do that one, those who have seen God. We have to focus our attention on our own sadhana right now for the time being. Then later on, when we succeed in knowing God, seeing God, then we can help a lot of other people. By simply willing, we don't have to give lectures and talks and travel and make big noise. Simply staying in one place and willing, the Sankalpa Matrena, it says. If we just think of somebody, say, may good happen to him, it will happen. That power we will get. Until then, we have to focus on our own sadhana, spiritual practice. Who are we to change other people? There is a Lord above all of us who directs everybody's life.
Pranam Swamiji, I have a quick question for you, and that is from the 15th chapter and the sloka number 8, where it says that when we reborn, all our indriyadis from the previous birth that enters into in our new body.
Yes. Samskaras.
Does that mean sanskaras, or does the indriyadi means
not the sense organs?
Okay.
Subtle sense organ. They are not the outer sense organ, not the hand and eyes. This will not go. This will be part of nature. They'll go back to nature. But the inner subtle sense organs, sukshma indriyas, the ability to see and hear and touch and taste and smell, that ability will be carried to the next birth. Not
as well as our mind.
No.
As well as our mind.
Mind impression, not the whole mind. In the mind, present memory that in this life I studied chemistry, all those things will not go to next life. That will be, and when this part in the mind has deeper impressions, that will go. But the other things that we have acquired in this mind, Whatever is studied and our memory of the present life, they will be left behind. They will not go with us. You don't remember.
What impression you said?
Subtle impression, sukshma.
Okay.
Samskaras. They will go.
Okay. Thank you,
They will
Swami.
form more personality in the next life.
Okay. Thank you.
Very good. Nice, good questions you are asking. These are important questions we should be asking. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Swamiji Padma. Are we at some level, even like a very subtle level, are we connected to our soul at all, or is it that only through only?
Are we connected to other souls in some?
Are we our own soul? Are we
others?
Not other souls, Swamiji? Are we connected to our soul, even like minutely, tiny, or only through Guru that we're able to connect to our soul? And when we actually connect to our soul, is that called God realized? So I guess like there are two questions. One is, are we connected to our soul at all, at any level, like even tiny bit or not, is the first question. And the second question that I have is, only can Guru help us connect with our soul? That is the second question. And only when we connect ourselves to the soul, is that called God realization or not?
All associations are temporary. All connections are temporary with other people, animals and plants and property, body. Even our association with the body is also temporary. It will go away. All associations will end. Only self will remain forever when attached. God realization means not seeing everything, the second object, separate from me, only seeing the self within. There is self-realization, one definition in the Upanishad is that state of awareness where there is no other object to be seen or heard from or interact with. Only self remain. That is God realization. Knowing my true self, I am my Atman. There is no other second object. The moment you see pursue a second object, person or something else, that means you are in the plane of duality, and that association is temporary. It may bring happiness, and happiness, you don't know. Seeing the self alone, Atman alone abides. That state of awareness is God realization.
So mostly, in many examples, in many different places, we talk about the chariot example, the intellect, the mind, and the soul being very dormant. We as Atman, are we connected to our soul, but to not that extent that we're God realized? Or when we actually do connect with the soul, is called God realization state. So we're like at this point, are we not connected at all with our soul, like deep connections, or the deep connections that we say to ourselves, like our inner voice, our antakaran? Is antakaran, like if you're connected with your antakaran and your consciousness, is that very different from being connected to the soul and God realization? Being connected to the soul is my question, I guess.
Antakarana means inner instrument. Karana means instrument. These are outer instruments, hands and feet and eyes. Likewise, inner instrument is the mind, buddhi, thinking power, memory. All these are inner instruments. So they are all temporary. Atman alone is the Atman associates with these instruments, taking from Prakriti for some time, and then it rejects it and becomes free. So that is lifespan. When this life ends, all the instruments will go back to nature. Atman remains. But if there is rebirth, impressions will carry. If you have desires, prarabdha that we worked out, then we take rebirth. New instruments will come from nature. They serve for some time. And then when the prarabdha ends, that life ends, Atman alone remains. Is that what you were asking?
I mean, it kind of helped me to some extent. I think my question still somewhere it's stuck in my head, that so we are not connected to our soul at all. Like, I think many times it confuses me, like these two things really confuse me, whereas the soul is dormant. We always say the soul is dormant. So that dormant, does it mean that we are connected with the soul, but to not that extent that we should actually be, or we are not connected at all to our soul? When we actually do connect with our soul, we don't see anything else but Atman. We realize that we are nothing but Atman, is my question, I guess.
Are we connected to a soul?
We means who?
Yeah, that is not clear. What do you mean by that question?
The soul is the main thing. Atman, Jivatman, that is God's presence within us. And the body, mind, everything, it acquires for some time. And then after that, it rejects. Atman alone abides. Atman alone remains. It was alone. Temporarily, these things are acquired. Life begins. Individuals live. Then these adjuncts are left behind. Atman alone remains. That is realization. For some time, these things are brought together. Body, mind, sense organs, then actions, karma will come, memory will come, suffering, good and bad, everything will come. The drama, like a drama. Then everything, the part is played, every person plays his or her part. Then the scene and drama ends and the actors go back home. They come on the stage, all the props are there, other actors are there. Everybody says and their part and does their part. And then the scene is over, next scene, that's over, then drama ends. The actors like that one. Somewhat like this. These are crude examples. You can't give crude example, you have to visualize.
Right.
All examples are not perfect. No example is perfect, actually. Only in some way we can explain these things. So when you study the shlokas, you have to reflect on them. Reflection of the meaning of the shloka, then slowly, repeatedly you have to reflect. Slowly things begin to make sense. You are hearing from me once, sometimes I repeat, same shlokas I do two or three times, and then we go to next shloka, next chapter. But that only gives a very rough understanding, the verbal meaning and something. But to get the deeper meaning, the implication, you have to think about it, assimilate it. That's called mananam. Mananam means reflection. So you do it repeatedly, hearing Savanam Mananam. Then you go to third stage, Nididhyasanam. You become so absorbed in the Mananam that you forget everything else. You meditate on that one. Then you will get true knowledge from within. These are outside lectures and classes and books are only outside helps to some extent to make that Mananam possible. So you will understand these things. It takes time.
Swamiji, I think what she was saying, are we connected to our Atman? Then when we say we, so who is we? We are the Atman. And if we distinguish something else as we, then we are thinking it is the body, mind, and ego complex. That's not who we are. We are the Atman. And when we know that, we are connected to
you have
the
to
body,
experience
mind,
it
separately.
We means you talk about the personality, which includes body, mind, sense organs, all the karma, impressions, everything, the whole package. That is what we call we. But that is some part of it is temporary, comes and goes. The permanent part is the true nature, our true identity, the God within us. That remains permanent. All the other things, body, mind, sense organs, karma, and impressions, and good and bad, suffering, pain, they are not permanent. They are not we. They are adjuncts. They call them upadhi, adjuncts. They come and go. That's not our true identity. We means the self, Atman within. That is our true nature. We are that.
And
so
when
we should not include body, mind, and all those things in that. They are not our true self. Our true self is God Himself.
Yeah. And when we know we are Atman, then we can go for God realization, which is...
You have to experience it, not knowing theoretically. By reading a book that I am Atman, Don't do. You have to do meditation, other sadhana, then you will experience your divine nature, then that God realization is to be known by experience. Anubhave ka vedyam, anubhav se hi samjha jata hai, shabdon se nahi. Very good. Let us close here. Already.
Thank you, Swamiji. Very
Okay.
nice.
All of
Thank
you stay well. See you next week, God willing.
All right.
We already said the closing prayer, so very good. Namaskar, everyone.
Namaste. Thank you.